Hello, good morning, and welcome back to Stop and Go F1, or should I say Stop and Go F3, as we're here to round up all the amazing action from the F3 this weekend. The feature race has just finished, and what an incredible race that was. But we're going to start with the sprint race, which took place yesterday, and it was raining. Sorry for my voice here. It's far too early. It was raining, and the commentator said that it was the first wet race of the F3 season so far, so that was exciting. We had Marty on pole, Mini alongside. Ollie Gunther stalled on the start. It was just incredibly lucky that no one hit him, especially with all the spray going up. Escaped there. No one hit him at all, which is... I couldn't believe it. Unbelievable stuff. But it was Marty who leads. Frederick got second place from Mini, who was down to third. And then Mini lost another place down to fourth. Barter spins out on the final corner. That was on lap 6. We get an incredible battle for P11 between Bortoletto and Christian Mansell. Paul Aron moved up to P2. Fantastic racing from him. And he starts chasing down Marty. That was on lap 9. Now we get a battle here between Mini and Fredericks for P3, where Mini was able to go round the outside at turn 5, and then went down the inside at turn 6. So I'm trying to read my own writing here. Impossible stuff. Colette was able to get past Fredericks. Then we had O'Sullivan and Colapinto hit, and Colapinto goes off into the gravel at turn 5. Villa Gomez and Ollie Gurfer crash and spin on lap 11. That brings out the safety car. Not Ollie Gurfer, sorry, that's Oliver Gray. Now, that was a really interesting incident where Gray hit Villa Gomez, and then as Villa Gomez is spinning after he's been hit, he collects Gray again, and they're both out. It was madness. That brings out the safety car. The top 5 at that time were Marty from Aron, from Mini, from Colette, from Fredericks. Safety car comes in. It was a fantastic restart from Marty, who went pretty early and was able to build a quite good lap. Mini and Aron are fighting then for P2. Frederick loses another place to O'Sullivan, who's now up to P5. Then he loses another one to Johnny Edgar. Now, we have Aron, who is caught up to Marty now, and this was the battle for P1. We see some absolutely fantastic defensive driving from Marty. Now, if you've watched this channel before, I love some good defensive driving, and there was some very good defensive driving from Marty. But Aron gets a fantastic cutback on turn 1. Now, all this squabbling here, Mini has caught up. We have a three-way battle for the lead. And into turn 3, they are 3 wide for P1. Aron, Mini, and Marty all going for it. Austria has given us some beautiful F3 racing this weekend. Whilst this is happening, we get Aron to go through, as does Mini. Marty goes from first to third, but then Colette is there as well. We get Mini versus Colette for P3, and Colette gets through, as does O'Sullivan. It was incredible. I think Marty went from P1 to about P4 in 2 laps. Their tyres just completely went. As we cross the line, though, here's the points finishes. Paul Aron wins it. After getting pole on Friday, then having it taken away for tracks limits, he gets a win here in the sprint race. Mini was second, Colette third, O'Sullivan fourth, Edgar fifth, Pepe Marti only good enough for 6th place, Fredericks came in home in 7th, and it was Paganovic in P8. Now we move on to the feature race, and oh my, I think we may have a contender for race of the year for the Formula 3, because this was some fantastic stuff. Gregoire Saucy on pole, Dino Beganovic alongside. Saucy hoping not to stall out the car this time, but it is a dry race. They get away well. Further down the grid, though, Mini is out, locked up after hitting Brownie, and goes through the gravel. This brings out the safety car, and it would be Garcia who had a safety car infringement and a 10-second stop-and-go penalty. Now it's Saucy versus Beganovic for P1. Beganovic will take the lead onto P7, and then Saucy is instantly under attack now from Bortoletto. And this fight brings in Aaron, O'Sullivan, Colapinto. They're all going for P1. At this point, we're about a quarter, nearly halfway through the race, and every driver from P2 all the way down to P14 had DRS. There was less than a second gap between all those drivers. Really close field today. Boganovic's tyres, though, they start to go. Aaron has a dive bomb onto Boganovic, brings him up into P3. Then Saucy is all over Boganovic. So Aaron tries a dive bomb onto Boganovic and Saucy at the same time. He messes it up. He ends up hitting Saucy on the rear wing, and then Aaron himself falls back and loses his places to Bortoleto and O'Sullivan. Aaron, that would give him front wing damage, but it would be even worse for Saucy, who would have a puncture. God, I'm trying to follow this with my own notes. Is mental. It was just action all the time. Bortoleto takes the lead, and then Boganovic takes it right back. So as I said, Paul Aaron has got a broken front wing. He stayed out for a little bit, would have to pit in the end. Fredericks had an incredible move around the outside of Aaron. Aaron has this front wing damage around the outside of turn 1 on lap 13. Fredericks was able to get past him. Fantastic move. Bortoleto takes the lead again. Aaron is tumbling down the screen. At this point, pits for new front wing. O'Sullivan takes P2 from Boganovic. O'Sullivan then tries to take the lead, and Colapinto takes P3 around the outside of Boganovic. Boyer and Fredericks are racing wheel to wheel, and they hit another front wing damage, puncture thing. They just go falling down. Colette has a fantastic dive bomb on Boganovic. Now Montoya turns up. Montoya's in the fight now. Montoya is going on the outside of Boganovic for 4 corners. This was honestly incredible. Sebastian Montoya, he's been there or thereabouts, in F3. He hasn't really shone yet. He hasn't had that defining moment. But he turned up today. Properly turned up. Because he dive bombs around. He tries to go around the outside of Boganovic into turn 5. Can't quite get the move done. But then just sticks with him. And he just goes round the outside for the next corner. And the next corner. And the next corner, and the next corner. He's just wheel to wheel for about 4 or 5 corners and then gets the move done. Incredible stuff from Sebastian Montoya. Really impressive. On lap 20, though, we have a battle between Bortoleto and O'Sullivan for the lead. And we get a slow-mo now to see what the tyres are looking like. And they are falling off. The tyres are being destroyed around here. So people are kind of trying to keep their tyres going, but also the grid is so close that they have to defend. We have Montoya versus Colette now for P5. Montoya goes through into the top 5 on lap 23. We get O'Sullivan now and Bortoleto at the front. O'Sullivan pushes Bortoleto out on the corner. Now these two battling has brought down the gap between them. So on the last lap, we actually have a 5-way battle for the lead. It's O'Sullivan, Bortoleto, Colapinto, Montoya and Colette, all with a chance of winning this race. Montoya, on the final lap, goes for a move on Colapinto to get his first ever Formula 3 podium. He goes for the move and Colapinto hits him, sends him out into the gravel. Colapinto loses a place as well. As they cross the line, it is O'Sullivan who takes the win from Bortoleto, then Colette, then it was Colapinto, then Boganovic, Johnny Edgar in 6th, Christian Mansell has 7th, Barta in 8th, Sophia Flörsch gets her first ever Formula 3 points. Montoya has to settle for P10 after that incident, but in all honesty, I believe that Colapinto deserves a penalty for that move at the end, and I think he should definitely get one, because that's Montoya's podium. That Montoya should have been P3. He deserved that, and Colapinto hit him, ruined it all on the last lap. But oh my goodness, what a lot of racing. It was fantastic stuff. Absolutely loved it. The Red Bull Ring has delivered in spades so far this weekend. As for my star of F3 for this weekend, it has to go to Bortoleto for me, because as I said, there were so many battles throughout this whole thing for the lead, but for the whole thing, the one guy who was consistently there, not making any mistakes, Bortoleto. Even though he didn't come home with the win, he was consistently showing his class, and that's what makes a great driver. So, star of F3 for the Austrian weekend, Bortoletto, I think he's still the championship leader. He should be. He had quite a lead going into it. A shame about Mini. I think he could have really shone in a race like this if it wasn't for the incident at the start. Real feeling sorry now for Montoya, because that should have been his first podium, but it's not meant to be. I'm sure he will get another opportunity. That is it for the F3 this weekend. I think the F3 is back next weekend, so we get to talk about it more there. On the channel today, though, we still have got the F2 coming up, which is coming up in about half an hour or so. Fantastic stuff. And then, of course, the F1 later on this afternoon, and then driver ratings will be out tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe for all that. I'll see you then. Goodbye.